Budget Magic time, blue-red Thopters in Standard. And we're up against Swift Spear. Let's see how this goes. We have some good blockers, but this hand is a little slow on the draw. Ooh, Rune Servitor actually helps. Ghost Fireblade, go. Rune Servitor means we actually have a 2-drop to play. And then we have plenty of chump blockers, which... Oh! I don't know what this is now. Defiant Strike, eh? Interesting. A spicy brew. Well, let's play our Runed Servitor. Probably won't be blocking this turn, but we'll see. Yeah, I think we're going to let this go. I don't really want to get blown out by a Defiant Strike or something. Blocking will feel safer once we get a Ghost Fireblade. Is this Dromoka's command? Yup. Alright, they get a counter, kill our Rune Servitor, we each draw a card, another Ghost Fireblade. Could be good eventually. Land? Yeah, well, sort of land. Let's play our Thopter Engineer. Sit back on D this turn. We want to kind of play the control role, try to get the board gummed up a bit. Probably just block with this Thopter Engineer, actually. So this is Atarka Red splashing for Defiant Strike and Dromoka's command, by the looks. Abbott, revealing Windswept Heath, alright. Windswept Heath cracks it. Cinderglade. And another Abbott. Alright, that's actually not bad. The way that worked out was fine. Land, untap land would be nice. Hangerback X1. Well, I guess that works as well. So we can go Hangerback X1. Equip up the Thopter with Ghost Fireblade. Play the Evolving Wilds and ship the turn. Still could get blown out pretty easily by Atarka's command. It's a lot of prowess creatures. Ooh, Gideon, eh? That's spicy. Alright. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a Wild Slash or something, because we're probably going to have to make some risky blocks here and hope that we aren't going to get blown out. Yep, here comes the attacks. Yeah, let's take our chances. Hopefully they don't have a 1-mana spell. Become Immense, Wild Slash, Fiery Impulse. Even Defiant Strike, I guess. So there's a lot of things that blow us out right here. Ah, alright. Well, that worked. That could have went way worse. Makes a Night Token. Let's crack this. I think we're just getting a Mountain, so we don't have to pay as much life for our Pia and Karen or Thopter Engineer. Land is actually not bad either. That means we get to play Pia and Karen Noir, make a couple Thopters, and then we're just going to pass for now and leave up the ability to pump our hanger back after blocks. Opponent cracks their fetch, gets a Canopy Vista. Another land. Myth realized. Sure. Opponent's down to 2 cards, which is good. Alright. They're going to animate their Gideon, start attacking. Swings with everything. So, what's the plan? I think the plan is block Gideon, double block the Knight, and chump the Swift Spear. Now we can put a counter on our hanger back. This way in Atarka's command, we still kill the Knight at least. And yep, put a counter on our hanger back, so we'll get 2 tokens out of the deal. Alright, 3 tokens, not bad. Another hanger back. So we really want to kill this Gideon. Let's equip with Ghost Fireblade. Play... Play Thopter Engineer. Attack this Gideon, hopefully to death. If they have a burn spell, they have a burn spell. Alright, they go with Stasis Snare. Probably to hit our token with the Ghost Fireblade. So that's going to keep their Gideon alive 1 more turn. We hit Gideon to 2. Equip up Ghost Fireblade on our untapped Thopter and ship the turn. Let's see what our opponent has. Still, the goal is getting rid of that Gideon. If we ever get in a position where we can get our spy network down, then all of a sudden things start to look really good. I think the plan is going to be block Gideon, block Swift Spear if Swift Spear attacks. They're going to fire up Myth Realized as well. Well, that actually changes the plan. Well, they can put 2 counters on Myth Realized. Alright, let's Gideon and Swift Spear. Actually, no. Let's Gideon and Myth Realized. 1, 2, 3. So if they can play a spell, I guess either way this goes wrong, but we take less damage if we block Swift Spear. Yeah, let's do this. Get our opponent out of cards, in theory. Pump up their Myth Realized. Oh, and we killed the Swift Spear. Excellent. Alright, we are still in this. Last card is a Seeker of the Way. Sure. So, now we get to... Actually, I think the smartest play is kill Gideon. Yeah, let's just kill Gideon. Get that problem off the table. Play Hangerback X2. And then equip up our Hangerback with the Ghost Fireblade. And then we'll play the second Ghost Fireblade. Next turn we should be able to get our Thopter assembly down. Hopefully our opponent doesn't draw anything crazy. Stasis Snare would probably be the worst, or Silk Wrap, because that's a clean answer to our Hangerback. Ooh, they're just going to do nothing? Wow. Alright. So now we get to Swiftwater Cliffs, gain a life. Thopter Spy Network. Get in with 2 of our Thopters. Draws us a card. Ooh, Fiery Impulse. That's a nice one too. And then equip up our Thopter. We might have stabilized. They're going to counter up Myth Realized. Counter up Myth Realized. So basically, we're committed to chumping that Myth Realized from here on out. Until we draw a Reality Shift. Land for our opponent. Just passes. Alright, so we get to put a counter on Hangerback. Make a token. Island. Well, let's move over our Ghost Fireblade on another Thopter. Attack for... Yeah, we'll just attack for 6. Another Hangerback, nice. Alright, Island, 1, 2... Actually, let's use our... We don't want to pay life here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hangerback X2. Move over Ghost Fireblade. Move over Ghost Fireblade. And we should be able to win next turn. Making that Myth Realized huge. I guess if they could somehow make Myth Realized unblockable, they could beat us with it. Alright, no Rogue's Passage. That would be one way of doing it. And we got there! Sweet! The stacks. We're about to go 4-1, with our only loss being to ourselves, basically. We lost to a Mana Screw. So we want Reality Shifts. I think we can go down a Disdainful Stroke, bring in another Fiery Impulse, and we'll just try it like that. Alright. We have a lot of ways of dealing with their creatures, so that's not bad. Little land light, but actually got a chance to maybe use our Ether Grid. Yeah, we'll just go Mountain, Ghost Fireblade. Pass the turn. So we are going to want our 3rd and 4th lands. But double Fiery Impulse will hopefully buy us a bit of time. Seeker of the Way. Land? Reality Shift. Alright. Fiery Impulse, Shivan Reef, pass the turn. Swift Spear. We'll just take 1. If they play some 2-mana pump spell, then we'll try to kill it. Alright. Land? Well, tap land. It's still land, though. It'll help us next turn. We'll just pass again. 4th land would be nice. There's Gideon. Well, let's Fiery Impulse the Swift Spear. Opponent's probably going to make a 2-2. Yep. Spine that work? Alright. We just got to ship the turn. And we're going to try to catch Gideon with Reality Shift. Oh. I wonder if our opponent somehow knew we had Reality Shift. That was interesting. Not much kills Gideon. Not a land. Alright. Ghost Fireblade. Pass the turn. Well, we might lose to ourselves again on this one. 3 lands are not going to cut it. Alright, this time they turn on Gideon. That's actually helpful. So we'll Reality Shift, get rid of Gideon. Our opponent manifests, but shouldn't be too problematic. Oh, we take 4 though. Could use a land still. Another Ghost Fireblade. Well, I guess we just go Thopter Engineer to make a blocker. Pass the turn. Alright, we're going to take the just block with Thopter Engineer line. And Defiant Strike gets rid of it. Opponent draws a card. Really need that land. If we draw a land, we can play P and Karen, or we can play our Ether Grid plus Ghost Fireblade to ping something. If we don't draw land, ugh. Alright, well, I guess the best we can do is play our Ether Grid. We might just be dead here, honestly. Play Evolving Wilds, ship the turn. We could have tried to equip up the Thopter. Maybe that would be a better line. But I like having the Ether Grid down for next turn when we play P and Karen, because then we get a free kill of one of the tokens. Assuming we're alive, which is a big assumption. Opponent cracks their fetch. Oh, is this Dromoka's command? That's pretty bad. Yep. Alright, gets rid of it. Not good. Well, we are pretty likely to be dead next turn. Or this turn. Our opponent has something else, too. Oh, boy. Whoa. 7 mana? What is happening? Wow. Alright. Nice sideboard tech. Yeah, that does it. Well, again, this was a loss to ourselves. If we don't get stuck on lands, I think we still win. Maybe go down this Disdainful Stroke for a negate to hit that Boiling Earth as well as Gideon. Otherwise, well, let's go down Artificer's Epiphany for Wild Slash. And hope we draw lands this time. We drew lands. Mission accomplished. But we have no action. Our opponent's going to 6. They tanked a long time. Oh, they're going to 5? Well, that increases our odds with this risky hand. They tanked a long time with their 7. So it might have been borderline, and they decided to ship it, and then potentially got punished. Oh, that helps. We let on the mountain so we could Wild Slash if they played a Swift Spear. But they didn't. Alright, crack this. Get a mountain, I guess. Island. Thopter Engineer. Is our opponent going to kill something? So far our drawing hasn't been too bad. We drew Thopter Engineer, which was a good draw. And then another land. So we'll see how our next couple draws go. If they are spells of any kind, I think we're heavily favored. If they're a string of lands, we could still lose from this position. Myth realized. Alright. Scatter. Alright, let's attack with both. I'm gonna play this super conservatively. So we could have equipped up the Ghostfire Blade, but we're just gonna attack with both, play Ghostfire Blade, and leave up Scatter. Our opponent is likely going to know that we have a counterspell because we didn't play and equip Ghostfire. But I don't think they're in a position where they cannot play into our counterspell. They mulligan, they're behind on board, so I don't think they can just do nothing and try to play around our counter. Silk Wrap. I don't think we want to counter Silk Wrap, though. It might just hit our Thopter. Oh, okay, Thopter Engineer. Well, that means we get to equip up our Thopter and keep attacking, so that's actually not bad. Another island, not great. We'll play Shivan Reef, though. Get in for 3. Leave up our Scatter still. Next turn, we can get a couple more Thopters with our Foundry of the Consuls. And leave up Counter Magic, so that's good. I think we got it. Knowing that we can counter a Gideon is pretty nice. We've actually beat a lot of Gideons over the course of these matches. Seems like every single deck is playing Gideon in one way or another. Oh, another Ghostfire Blade. Well, we're going to wait. We're just going to attack for 3. Leave up Foundry. And we can actually scatter with Awaken if we want to. Stasis Snare. Alright, let's do it. Scatter, Awaken our Shivan Reef. Keep the pressure on. We don't quite have a 2-turn clock. Actually, we do. If we hit with both of our creatures next turn, we can Wild Slash for the win. So our opponent could play a Gideon, but I don't think Gideon matters anymore. Because we are so close to killing them. So I think it's alright to use the counter there. Even if our opponent slams the Gideon this turn. Oh, that makes it even easier. Because they took that damage, we don't even need to hit with our land. We can just equip up this second Ghostfire Blade, hit our opponent down to 2, and then Wild Slash. So we'll do that. Ghostfire Blade. Actually, our lands are technically colorless creatures as well. I did not even consider that. We're going to attack with both at our opponent, not that it matters. The Thopter itself is going to get the job done. And, man, this deck has been super impressive and awesomely fun. I have really been enjoying it. And Fiery Slash, or Wild Slash, for the win. No, I don't think we'll redirect. And that does it. Wow, alright. Well, 4-1's not bad. In the one match we lost, we got stuck on 2 lands on like turn 7 on both of the games we lost. So this deck, I have to say, is pretty impressive. Also, we've played mostly Tier 1 decks, and the decks that weren't Tier 1 decks were still like high-powered decks. We didn't run into any jank. Like, this deck isn't Tier 1, but they're still playing Gideon and Stasis Snares and Silk Wraps and Swift Spears and Abbots. Like, it's like a very close to a Tier 1 deck. So I'm pretty impressed with how good Blue-Red Thopters performed this week. Highly recommend.